ॐ अज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरोः श्रीयुतपदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगण रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्यदेवं श्रीराधाकृष्णपादान् सहगण ललिता श्रीविशाखान्वितांश्च। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगत्पते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते। तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये। नमो महावदान्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायिने कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नाम्ने गौरत्विषे नमः। तत्त्वात्मकं कृष्णं भक्तरूपस्वरूपकं भक्तावतारं भक्ताख्यं नमामि भक्तशक्तिकम्। श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासदि गौरभक्तवृंदा। हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। जन्माद्यस्य यतोऽन्वयादितरतश्चार्थे सुभिज्ञस्वराट् तेने ब्रह्म हृदयादिकवये मुह्यन्ति यत्सूरयः। तेजो वारिमृदां यथा विनिमयो यत्र त्रिसर्गो मृषा धाम्ना स्वेन सदा निरस्तकुहकं सत्यं परं धीमहि। नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। स्वस्ति अस्तु विश्वस्य खलः प्रसीदतां ध्यायन्तु भूतानि शिवं मिथो धिया। मनश्च भद्रं भजतादधोक्षजे आवेश्यतां नो मतिरप्यहेतुकी। आप सभी का स्वागत है आज के इस भगवद गीता के प्रवचन में।
We welcome all of you to today's class on Bhagavad Gita. We are studying third chapter, verse number 7. In the previous verse, Bhagavan explained how if a person restrains his external senses but continues to dwell on sense objects internally, then he is known as a hypocrite. And the context was that Arjuna's question was whether he should perform karma or should take sannyas. So Bhagavan had replied that spiritual fixity is of two types in this world. One is of Gyan Yoga and other is of Karma Yoga. Both have different eligibility. Actually, spiritual fixity is one only, but it is divided in two depending on the eligibility of the practitioner. So now here he explains that if somebody has sense enjoyment desires internally, but he does not perform karma, then he is a mithyachari, a hypocrite. But if he can give up the desires for sense enjoyment and rather perform karma, is far better.
इंद्रियाणि मनसा नियम्य आरभते अर्जुन कर्मेंद्रियैहि कर्मयोगम असक्तः स विशिष्यते परंतु हे अर्जुन
Translation: But, O Arjuna, one who controls the senses by the mind,
जो कर्म के
who
फल में
remains
आसक्त
unattached to the fruits of action,
तथा जो कर्म
and who undertakes his
ज्ञानेंद्रियों
prescribed duties
नियत
through means of the organs of action and the cognitive senses, such a person is far superior.
तो यहाँ भगवान ने बताया कि जो कर्म योग में अपने को
So here
प्रवृत्त करता
Bhagavan is explaining that one who engages in karma yoga is far superior.
श्रेष्ठता जो पिछले श्लोक में मिथ्याचारी की
So
बात
one
की
is
थी,
superiority, like compared to the hypocrite that Bhagavan told about in the previous verse, and Arjuna's original question
निश्चय करके बताइए मैं
that he wanted a clear answer what he should do. Regarding that also, here Bhagavan is explaining that karma yoga is far superior to karma sannyas. In Gita, Bhagavan will
मुख्य सिद्धांत है
emphasize this point again and again. This is a very fundamental
बात करते हैं
point in Bhagavad Gita. Although he speaks of Jnana Yoga also, but still when he compares both, he gives emphasis, he places Karma Yoga on a superior level.
और यहाँ भी वही बात कह रहे हैं कि सविशेष
And here also he is explaining
जो
that.
है वो विशेष है, वो
That is its
श्रेष्ठ है।
Vishesh, means it is far superior.
तो इस श्लोक में जो तू शब्द का उन्होंने प्रयोग किया यस्तु
So in this verse, he has used the word tu, yes tu.
में जो कहा था पिछले श्लोक में जो कहा था उससे भेद करने के लिए तो
That
इंद्रियों
is
को
to differentiate from what he spoke earlier. So controlling the senses
कर्मयोग
and
में प्रवृत्त होना
then engaging in Karma Yoga.
इन कर्मयोग में प्रवृत्त होने
But
के लिए आप
in order to engage in Karma Yoga, you can do Sakam Karma Yoga or Nishkam Karma Yoga. So here Bhagavan is telling Anasakta, he should not be attached, should be detached. And attachment is of two types. One is attachment to the karma and other is to the fruit of the karma.
को छोड़कर
So giving up attachment to both,
दोष जो है वो कर्म करने
because actually the fault does not lie in the karma, the fault lies in the attachment
दोष है
to the karma and its fruit.
तो उस दोष को ही छोड़ना है
That is the real fault. So that fault has to be given up.
तो अगर आसक्ति छोड़कर अर्पण भाव से वो कार्य
So if one can be detached and perform karma yoga as an offering, then he is far superior
कर्म का त्याग कर दे
compared to just giving up karma. So here the
कर्मयोग शब्द का जो प्रयोग
word karma yoga which has been used here by Bhagavan,
वास्तव में निष्काम कर्मयोग के लिए किया
that is actually for Nishkam karma yoga,
क्योंकि सकाम कर्म का भी वर्णन है
because there is description of Sakam karma also,
देखा जा सकता है
and karma yoga can be analyzed from two points of view.
मीमांसा की है
One is that of Purva Mimamsa,
दर्शनम से एक दर्शन
which is one of the 6 systems of
मीमांसा
philosophy. It is also known as Karma Mimamsa,
पूर्व
also known as Dharma Mimamsa, Purva Mimamsa.
तीनों शब्दों का प्रयोग
All the three words are used for it
क्योंकि कर्म
because
विहित है
the karma
कर्म बोलते हैं
which is ordained by Shastra, that is called
धर्म जिज्ञासा
karma.
पहला जो सूत्र है
That's why the first sutra of Jaimini is Athato Dharma Jigyasa. It begins with Dharma Jigyasa, inquiry into Dharma.
पूर्व मीमांसा
So there in Purva Mimamsa, four types of karma are explained. One is Nitya, the second is Naimitya,
निषिद्ध कर्म
and third is Kamya karma, and fourth is Nishiddha.
तो नित्य कर्म वो है
So Nitya karma refers to that karma
नित्य किए जाते हैं यानी कि
which
प्रतिदिन
are
इनको करना होता
which are those karma which are performed daily.
है नित्य कर्म की एक व्याख्या ये भी है कि नित्य कर्म वो है जिसका कोई फल नहीं होता
Nitya karma is also explained in a way that which does not have any result.
और उसमें किसी फल का वर्णन नहीं होता
You have to do that, but its result is not described.
संध्या में उपासित है वेद का वचन है कि प्रतिदिन संध्या करनी चाहिए.
So it is the rule of Veda that every day Sandhya Vandan must be done. So Ved does not say why you should do Sandhya Vandan and what will be the result of that. So such karmas are called Nitya Karma. That is the order of Ved.
माना जाता है कि वेद हमको
And there it is accepted that
निश्रेयस के लिए ही आज्ञा देता है. इसमें हमारे
Vedas are giving us orders for our ultimate welfare only.
दिशा निर्देश करता है.
That is the mercy of Ved on human beings. It guides the human beings in such a way that they can lead their life properly. So these karmas are called Nitya karmas.
उसी प्रकार कुछ नैमित्तिक कर्म हैं. नैमित्तिक
Similarly, there are some Naimittika karmas. They are performed only when there is some nimitta or some.
उनमें कोई निमित्त नहीं है. कोई
In the Nitya karmas, there is no nimitta that
हो गई
because some situation has arisen, that is why you should do this. It is not based on some situation. So nimitta can be some situation, some place, some timing, some activity. So in that particular time
विशेष
or in that particular place, like you go to some place of pilgrimage, there you perform some special activity, or some special event has happened, like somebody has been born, somebody died, then the karmas which are performed, they are called naimittika karmas.
और जो नित्य और नैमित्तिक हैं इनमें किसी
And
फल का वर्णन नहीं होता है.
in nitya and naimittik karmas, the phala or the fruit is not described, but if they are not performed, then sin accrues.
अगर आप करें तो उसका कोई फल का
So if you perform them, there is no mention of any fruit. That is why these nitya and naimittika karmas are not performed for any fruit. They are just performed as duty. But if you do not perform that, then
आपको पाप लगेगा.
then you will accrue sin.
तो इसलिए उनको करना ही चाहिए.
That is why they must be performed.
प्रकार के जो कर्म है उनको काम्य.
Then the third type of karma is called kamya karma.
काम्य कर्म जो है वो है जो किसी
Kamya karma is that karma which is performed for fulfilling some specific desire.
का यज्ञों का
Such activities, such yajnas are explained in Shastras, in Veda, that if you have any particular desire and if you want to fulfill that, then you can perform a specific yajna to fulfill that desire. So kamya karma is that karma which, if not performed, will not result into any sin. Like if you do not perform nitya karma, there will be sin. But if you do not perform kamya karma, there is no sin for that. But if you perform kamya karma, then you will get fruit for that. So nitya karma is just opposite of kamya karma. If you perform nitya karma, there is no result. But if you don't perform it, there is dosha, there is defect. So in this way, in Shastra, in Veda, in the Brahmana Shastras, there is such mention of Nitya Karma, Kamya Karma. Then the fourth type of karma is Nishiddha Karma. Nishiddha means that which should not be done. This is that karma which, if performed, will lead to defect. Like for Nitya Karma, if you perform it, there is no there is no defect or sin. But Nishiddha Karma, if it is performed, then there is dosha, and if not performed, there is no result. So in English, these are called rules and regulations, prescriptions and prohibitions. Like there are commandments. So all this explanation of Karma Yoga is based on this concept. There the whole focus is on the Vidhi, what is to be done. And in Purva Mimamsa it is explained that the primary purpose of Ved is to instruct us into rules and regulations, what should be done and what should not be done, so that we can lead our life in such a way that we do not fall into bondage. That is why karma is not the cause of bondage. Although we hear like that generally, it is the attachment to the karma that is the cause of bondage. So if you perform nitya karma, naimityaka karma and avoid nishiddha karma, then there will be no bondage. This is a purva mimamsa. But the karma yoga described in Bhagavad Gita obviously contains this also, but it is much more than this. The karma yoga explained in purva mimamsa, for Lokik karmas, no phala is described. Like if you do, if you eat food, if you sleep, if you are performing your job in the office, then there is no result described for that in Purvamimamsa. Purvamimamsa does not discuss these type of worldly karma, worldly activities. So the lakshana that is made for the vidhi, that is agyata gyapaka. It is not achieved, means it cannot be known through any other way. It has to be known only through the Veda. So regarding worldly activities, Purvamimamsa does not discuss anything. But the Karma Yoga that Bhagavan is discussing in Bhagavad Gita, in the Puranas, here Laukik karmas, worldly activities are also included. Like Bhagavan will speak later, that whatever you do, eating, drinking, that is not some Vedic karma. Eating is not a Vedic karma. In Bhagavatam also there is a wonderful verse by the Nyogendras to King Nimi.
बुद्ध्यात्मना व अनुसृत स्वभावात् यत् करोति सकलम परस्मै नारायण इति समर्पयेत तत्. तो कहते हैं कि आप अपने
So there they explain that through your body, through your speech and through your mind, because we perform three types of actions, through body, through speech and through mind. So all three that we perform them, we should perform them according to our swabhava, our acquired nature, and offer them to Bhagavan. So this karma yoga is different from the karma yoga of Purva Mimamsa. In the karma yoga of Purva Mimamsa, you just have to perform the vidhi. But here, whatever activity you perform, that should be done with the mentality of offering to Bhagavan. Whatever you perform, you offer it to Krishna. Then that becomes karma yoga. So here, every activity can be offered to Bhagavan, and it should be performed with the attitude of offering to Bhagavan.
तो ये कर्मयोग की दूसरी विधा है.
So this is the second process of karma yoga, and this is more practical. The karma yoga of Purva Mimamsa is based on varnashram, and today in the society varnashram is almost lost. And those places where there is no varnashram, how can they perform karma yoga? So Gita, Bhagavatam, etc. are explaining how they can also perform karma yoga. So then there it is of two types. One is when you do karma, one is that you should perform only that which is ordained by Shastra. Like this is Shastra says this is the karma of Brahmana, Kshatriya, Vaishya, Shudra. What is the karma of Guru, disciple, wife, husband? So many regulations are given in Shastra for people of different status. But those who are not in this varnashram, for them here it is said just act according to your swabhava.
भगवान भी कहते हैं स्वभाव नित्यम.
Bhagavan also says.
तो स्वभाव के अनुसार कर्म.
So karma should be done according to swabhava, and that can be done in two ways. One is Shastra itself says that if this is your swabhava, you do it. But in today's society, that is not very practical. So what is practical is you act according to your swabhava and offer it to Bhagavan. Then that itself is karma yoga.
तो यहाँ मुख्य रूप से दो चीजें उन्होंने कही हैं.
So in this verse 7, mainly 2 points are explained. One is to control the senses by the mind. And here mind indicates intelligence also, because only by mind it cannot be done. Mind is explained because mind is above the senses, but intelligence is above the mind also. But here mind, along with mind you have to take intelligence also, because without intelligence you cannot control the senses. So first of all we have to control the senses, and controlling the senses does not mean suppressing them, because generally those who enter the spiritual path, they do not understand this difference between controlling the senses and suppressing the senses. Both are two different things, and it is very important to understand the difference, because suppression will not lead to any benefit. If you suppress, then it will come out, and it will come out as hypocrisy, what Bhagavan explained in the previous verse. Although he used the word sanyamya, that is to restrain, but that time its actual meaning was suppression. Although Bhagavan used the word sanyamya, it did not mean control, it meant suppression. So if you suppress your action and knowledge acquiring senses, but meditate on sense objects internally, then that is hypocrisy. So this is actually the difference between suppression and regulation. Because you can say one who is regulating the senses, that person is also restraining them from sense objects. Yes, but he is restraining with the right understanding that this restraint, this self-control is beneficial for me. And he does not want to enjoy the sense objects. Although that is another point, that in the beginning stage his mind will be attracted to the sense objects because he has been addicted to enjoying sense objects. But with his intelligence he understands that this is not right for me and I do not want to do this. So when you restrain your senses with this right understanding, that is called self control. But you have a deep desire for enjoying sense objects internally, but due to social pressure or fear of being criticized in the society by friends, by relatives, because of this fear you do not engage in that, but internally you keep meditating on that, or you do sense enjoyment in hiding when you are alone, then that is hypocrisy, and that will not give any benefit to you. So this is the difference between the both. And on spiritual path, this hypocrisy is very prominent, very prevalent. Why? That is because people do not understand this subtle difference, or this difference is not taught to them properly. So they keep trying to suppress the senses, but always you will not be able to suppress your senses. If you continue suppressing them, then sometime or the other they will definitely come out, they will release, and then that time you will not be able to control them at all, and that situation will be such that you will have to face insult and criticism in public. So it is same like, say there is anger. When anger arises, when it starts, then you get some feeling. If you are a person, if you are aware, if your awareness level is quite high, you will realize that. But then sometimes the situation is such that anger just gets anger dominates you, and then you cannot control it. Similarly, if you try to suppress your senses, you can continue that, but there will be a situation when it will just explode, and you will not be able to do anything. So you have to understand it is, you have to recognize it in the beginning stage itself. The main point in self control is that with your intelligence you have to understand that this action is not appropriate, what I'm going to do. this kind of attachment or this kind of enjoyment of sense objects is not beneficial to me, and I have to protect myself from this. So you should have to be determined for
जो
this.
संकल्प लिया जाता है वो इसलिए लिया जाता है
The system
जिसको
of
आप जानते
sankalpa,
हैं
which is there, or
वो
determination,
संकल्प आपको
that is
समझने
done
में
for this, what we call willpower.
ऐसे संकल्प ले लेते
So
हैं
you
जैसे
have
किसी
to
ने
have you
शादी
have to become determined,
जैसे
but
आपको किसी
determination should be
सदस्य
with the right understanding.
सदस्य बनना है तो
Like if you have to become some
करना पड़ेगा
member of some institution, they will tell you that you have to follow these rules. So you do not accept them internally, but because you want to become member of that society, then you say, okay, I will follow them.
मन में आपके अंदर जो है स्वीकृति नहीं है
But in your heart, in your mind, you have not accepted those rules. You do not understand that they are beneficial for me. You think that, okay, everybody tells that, okay, let me also accept that. But internally, you have not accepted it.
अपने अंतःकरण से आपने
And internally, if you, since if you have not accepted, if you have not accepted by proper intelligence, then even if you are following those rules, they will be simply a show to others.
फिर आध्यात्मिक लाभ आपको नहीं होगा
So you can do this, but it will not give any spiritual benefit.
बात अच्छी तरह से समझनी
So this point has to be understood very
आध्यात्म के
clearly
विषय में
if we
गंभीर है
want to be serious in spiritual life.
महत्वपूर्ण है
That is why this verse is very important.
नियम में आरंभ वो आरंभ करता है इंद्रियों को
The person begins by controlling the senses
कर्मयोग में प्रवृत्त होता है
and engages in karma yoga.
कर्मयोगम आरभते तो दो चीजें हैं
So there are 2 points here. One is not doing,
मनसा नियम में और एक कर्मेंद्रिय कर्मयोगम आरभते तो कुछ आपको करना है और कुछ नहीं करना है
so some things you have to do, some things you should not do, but both have to be understood properly. Without the right understanding, if you are doing something or avoiding something, it will again lead to problem.
चीज है ये
And the most important point is
आसक्ति ना होना
to be detached.
और ये आसक्ति ना होना इसको भी हमें ठीक से
And even this point of detachment has to be understood with honesty. Because if you talk with somebody, such everybody will say that I don't have any attachment. I am detached. Everybody speaks like this.
लेकिन क्या वास्तव में ये सही है
But is it actually true?
इसको समझना होगा कोई तो नहीं कहेगा कि मेरी आसक्ति है
Who will accept that he is or she is attached? And if somebody says like this, is a great person, and people say speak this just for a show. I am very humble, I am very fallen, I am a
लेकिन ये यहाँ कहने
sense
की बात
enjoyer.
यहाँ समझने
But
की
here
बात है
the point is not about speaking, the point is about understanding and following.
की वस्तु है
Spirituality is a
कहने की
process
वस्तु
of
का
following,
नहीं है
not of speaking. Actually, there is no need to
तो
speak
इसे
anything.
हमको अपने अंदर अपने अंतःकरण से स्वीकार करना होगा कि ये मेरे लिए गलत है
We have to accept these principles internally in our life, that this is good for us and this we should follow this, and we should not do this just because others are telling us to do this, and if I do not follow this I will be criticized. That is all right, but that is not actually good.
लेकिन
It is all right in the sense that it helps you to regulate yourself to some extent, but main thing is you should have acceptance of those rules internally. If we are associating with nice sadhus and we get influenced by their good behavior, we accept that. So it is good. But if we do not accepting that internally, then it is not good. So we should have acceptance of that good behavior, those spiritual principles internally also. Then our material desires will slowly start weakening, and we will become strong mentally, intellectually, and we will be able to gain victory over the senses.
हमको बहुत गहराई से समझना होगा इस बात को और ये
This has to be understood very deeply.
स्तर
And this attachment exists at very subtle, deep level. You might have seen that there some about heard about some people, they spent lot of time in spirituality, so they say that no, there is no problem in doing this.
तो जो शीघ्र फल मिलने की बात है वो भी फला सकती है.
When people say that they want the result in spiritual process very quickly, that is also an attachment, and when they do not get that, then they give it up. Like somebody was asking, nowadays gurus are of all kinds, so you can just keep blaming the guru that what is the use of spirituality, because the nowadays the gurus are themselves not self controlled. But the point is that if you are yourself are attached, you will anyway act accordingly. If you do not have the right teacher, you will go to the another right teacher. So one who finds defects in sadhana in others,
उसकी मतलब आसक्ति कहीं और है.
it proves that his attachment is somewhere else.
आसक्ति है जल्दी फल मिल जाए.
His attachment is to getting the result of the sadhana very quickly, or getting result in material life very quickly, or to become siddha and then people will praise me, they will become my followers. That means his actual goal is not in realizing the tattva, but to enjoy the byproduct of the sadhana. And attachment is actually lying in that byproduct in the form of name, fame, etc. So this is what we have to introspect internally, because it is only you who can understand what is going on inside you. Because and if other person knows also, he will not tell you because he knows you will become offended. Because nowadays if you tell the truth to somebody that hurts his or her ego, then that person becomes offended and starts saying that you are doing fault finding in me. That is why people will not tell you your reality even if they know about you. So you only have to understand and give up the wrong desires from yourself. If we can do this, then we will progress in spiritual life. Another point is that nowadays we are born in this modern environment. Since there was advent of Sigmund Freud, he discovered a very important point which is connected with the previous verse. So Freud discovered that all the problems, internal problems in people exist because they suppress their desires. Because there were a lot of rules and regulations earlier for man and woman to meet together. So one is that if you are actually educated in dharma and you have done sadhana and you can control your senses. But the other one, like if you take Christianity, it had become very weak, but those rules were existing, although it internally it had become very weak. So people were trying to artificially suppress their senses, especially women, because there were a lot of rules for women. So because of that, lot of psychological problems cropped up, like hysteria, etc. So Freud, he found out that the cause of all these psychological problems is suppression of senses. So now Freud said that do not suppress your senses. So not suppressing senses is fine, but then it led to the meaning that okay, enjoy. But then Freud had not understood what is actually suppression of senses because he had not studied Bhagavad Gita. If he would have studied Bhagavad Gita, then his discovery would have been very fruitful. That is why nowadays the Western society, which is influenced the whole world, whether it is India, Japan, or anywhere, all the old cultures have been influenced by this Western culture because the Western countries are economically very powerful. So their theory is about freedom, become free. Although that is not that is not actually
कुछ भी
freedom.
करो,
So
जब
their theory is that do whatever you like,
नहीं तो
no
आर्थिक
need to follow any rules and
दोनों
regulations.
एक साथ
So
मिलके
from beginning only,
आप जहाँ
the
मिलेंगे
boys and girls they meet
ऐसा नहीं है
together,
दो
they
चीजें
start,
आपको
they desire to enjoy each other.
एक जगह मिलेंगी,
These
ड्रग्स
two
और
things you
सेक्स।
will find everywhere, mostly in schools, colleges, like drugs, sex,
क्यों है
drinking.
ये?
Why?
फ्रॉइड जी की कृपा से।
This is because of the mercy of Freud.
तो कभी कभी क्या होता है कि जो अर्ध सत्य होता है
So sometimes what
उस
happens
समय असत्य
that
से भी ज्यादा खतरनाक हो जाता
partial truth can become more dangerous
है। ये
than
जो फ्रॉइड ने
falsity
कहा
also.
अर्ध सत्य है, आधा
So what
सत्य है,
Freud said was half
जो
truth.
भगवान कृष्ण बोल रहे हैं वो पूरा बोल रहे हैं,
What Bhagavan Sri Krishna is telling is the complete
लेकिन
truth.
फिर नियमन की भी बात करते हैं।
Although Bhagavan is
नियमन
telling that
कैसे करते हैं?
suppression is not good, but he is also explaining how to do engage in
इसके पहले
self-control,
क्या
how to
होता है?
restrain the senses, and he is
तो
explaining the process
ठीक
also.
है, ये फ्रॉइड
But
को
this
पता नहीं था
second
कि
part
उसमें
was
नियमन
not
कैसे
known to
करते हैं,
Freud.
तो वो
That is why
अपने आप को
today's
भगवान बोलता है,
society,
जो भी बोलता है, लेकिन वो
whatever it may
शांति
call itself, free society or whatever, but it is not free society. It is actually a whimsical
से
society.
अशांति
And
फैला
its
हुआ है।
result is that everywhere there is chaos and people are miserable.
अभी कोई मेरे पास आया मिलने,
Yesterday, a person
वो
came to
पहली बार
meet me,
भारत आया है
and first time he came to
फ्रांस से,
India from France,
और यहाँ पर केवल 2 रात ठहरा वो।
and he just stayed here for 2 nights.
तो कहता है आपसे मेरे को एक ही
And
प्रश्न
he
पूछना है।
said that I just have one question to ask.
तो मैंने कहा क्या प्रश्न है? तो उसने कहा कि मेरा प्रश्न ये है
So his question was
हमारा फ्रांस यूरोप
that our France,
बहुत
Europe,
बढ़िया है, सुंदर है,
there everything is
और
beautiful,
मेरे
nice.
पास में अपना सामान्य जीवन चलाने के लिए आर्थिक व्यवस्थाएं हैं,
People are
और यहाँ पर
economically
लोग बहुत
satisfied.
गरीब हैं।
They have the means to lead their life
तो इस
properly. But
तरीके की
here I
बातें
see
मैं
everyone,
कितने
people
समय से
are
देखता हूँ।
mostly poor, but I
यहाँ
see
पर मैं देखता हूँ
smile
कि
on everybody's face.
जैसे कोई
But when I
बहुत
go to
मुश्किल
Europe,
से
I see
दिखाई
that
देता है।
everyone looks so morose and
इसका
depressed.
क्या कारण
Although
है?
they have everything. Here people are poor, but still they are all, I see
तो
they are
इसका
always
कारण
smiling.
यही है
So what is the reason? So my answer is that this is
कि
the
अगर आप अपनी कामनाओं और
reason
वासनाओं
that
के
if
से अभिभूत हैं, तो आप
if you
कभी
are
भी सुखी
full
नहीं हो सकते।
with your sense desires,
ये ध्रुव
you
सत्य
can
है।
never become happy. This is the eternal
दो ही
truth.
संभावना है, या तो
There
अपनी
are only two
वासनाओं
possibilities.
कामनाओं को
One is that
नियंत्रित करके उनके
you either
राजा बने,
control, regulate your
जीते
sense desires,
या आप उनके गुलाम बने,
and
दास
you
बने।
gain victory over them, you become king,
तो आज
or
का जो
you become the
समाज है,
slave of your desires.
प्रश्न बाद में, आज का जो समाज है
So today's society
वो इंद्रियों का दास है,
is a slave of
और इंद्रियों का
material
दास होना ही
desires,
हमको सिखाया
slave
जाता है।
of senses. And
इस
slavery of senses is
समाज
what is
में
taught in today's society.
वो दुख,
And
सुख,
what is the result of all this?
अवसाद,
Result
दर्द
is suffering,
होता है कि नहीं होता?
depression,
डिप्रेशन है,
dejection.
अवसाद में है,
Mostly people are
कुछ
into
कम कुछ
depression,
ज्यादा,
somebody less, somebody more.
और उसको छुपाने के लिए ही फिर ये सब चलता है, जो मैंने
And
कहा
in
कि
order to hide that, all this
जो
goes on, like what I
ड्रग्स
said, that's drinking, drugs, and
इससे
sex.
थोड़ा उनको राहत मिलती
So
है,
that gives them some superficial, temporary relief from that. But the main
वासनाएं उनको परेशान
reason
कर रही हैं, वो
inside,
लगातार
that is the
उनको
desire, the material
परेशान कर रही
desire,
हैं,
that is not going away,
उनका
and
उनके
that
पास
won't go away,
कोई भी समाधान नहीं
and
है।
they do not have any solution for
वो
this.
जानते भी नहीं कि इसके कारण हम दुखी
They
हैं,
don't even
इसकी
know
वजह
that
से
we
हम
are
दुखी हैं।
actually unhappy because of this. They think that we are
तो आज
enjoying
का
because
समाज
of
जो है
these
वो
material desires.
वासनाओं
We are
और
happy because of this. So the whole society is running
कामनाओं
on
का
material desire, and they are being encouraged.
तो अभी ऑस्ट्रेलिया नियम बनाने जा रही है कि जो टीनेजर हैं
So
16
now
साल
Australia
से
is going to make a rule
हैं, उनको
that those who
इंस्टाग्राम,
are
फेसबुक
less than 16 years old,
अलाउड नहीं है,
social, they will be banned from social using social media,
क्योंकि ये सब वासना बढ़ाने वाली चीजें हैं।
because this social media is just
तो आपको
encouraging their
पता है
material
कि पाप का
desires.
बीज डाल दिया जाएगा
So
महत्वाकांक्षाओं के
if
बीज
this
डाल दिए
seed
जाएंगे,
of material desires is fed from beginning,
क्राइम
what will you do when you grow up?
क्योंकि कोई
So
काम
because of
नहीं
this,
करना
so much
चाहता है
crime is
और
increasing,
आनंद
because nobody wants to do any
खुशी से
work.
करना चाहता है।
Everybody
इसी
wants
की
to
शिक्षा
have
में
lot of money without
हर
work
एक व्यक्ति
and
के
just
लिए
enjoy.
पैसा बहुत महत्वपूर्ण है।
everybody today thinks that money is very important. Earlier, importance was given to character. Today, nobody talks of character. Everybody talks only of money. Everybody is evaluated on the parameter of wealth. So, this is a big social problem. That is why studying Gita is so important. In today's society, Bhagavad Gita is much more important than what it was earlier. Everybody should be taught Bhagavad Gita right from school itself, compulsorily. Then people will say, what will happen by studying this? By studying this, what will happen is that you will achieve what you actually want. Everybody wants a peaceful life. But if you want a peaceful life, then you have to understand what brings peace and what destroys peace. Why do we become depressed? Why do we become dejected? So the cause is this, what Bhagavan is explaining here. Anybody who is born in this society obviously is born with material desires which are coming from the previous life. Those samskaras are carried forward anyway. And those samskaras are driving our life. They are our programs. They are like our God, our Devata. They are driving us. They are controlling, those samskaras are controlling us. So if we are they become their slave, then we will not be able to remain peaceful. That's why we have to perform karma with detachment. So this is a very important instruction by Bhagavan, and that's why he is addressing Arjuna as Arjuna. Arjuna means one whose heart is pure. Earlier also he addressed Arjuna as Anagha. Until and unless our heart is pure, we will not be able to understand this, what Bhagavan is explaining here. Because those who are completely under the control of material desires, they will not be happy. They will become angry thinking that we are being told to give up material desires, because they will think that what is the value of life without all this. People think like this. I will get into depression, dejection. And it appears correct also, because they have not seen life beyond material desires. So they can't even imagine that their life can exist without material desires also. So this is very important point that Bhagavan mentions here. And if we do not follow this, our problems cannot be solved. Then the next verse, number 8, that is also important.
नियतं कुरु कर्म त्वं कर्मजायो हि अकर्मणः शरीर यात्रा पिचतेन प्रसिद्धेद कर्मणः अतः तुम अपने कर्मों को
Therefore, perform your obligatory actions, for action is superior to inaction. Moreover, without action, even your bodily sustenance cannot be accomplished. So in this verse also, Bhagavan is showing Karma Yoga as superior to Jnana Yoga, because in Jnana Yoga, the instruction is to give up karma. They consider karma to be bondage, but the Jnana Yoga that Bhagavan will explain, that will also be different. Just like I said, Karma Yoga is of two types. One is of Purva Mimamsa and one is of Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam. Similarly, Jnana Yoga is also of two types. One is the Jnana Yoga of Advaita Sampradaya, taught by Sri Shankaracharya, where karma, giving up karma completely is compulsory. But here, Bhagavan will speak again and again that even if you are a Jnani, even if you are following Jnana Yoga, then also you should not give up karma. You continue to performing them with detachment for as an instruction to society, becoming example in the society. So he says that yagya, charity, tapasya, they should not be given up by anybody. They should always be done. Even intelligent, wise people can be purified by yagya, dana and tapa. So Bhagavan is teaching that Jnana Yoga, where giving up karma fully is not prescribed.
कर्म संन्यास पूर्ण रूप से लेने के पक्षधर नहीं है.
So Bhagavan is not in favor of even sannyasis giving up karma completely.
So नियतम कर्म कुरु. तो
So
नियतम
here Bhagavan is telling
कर्म का मतलब वही जो
niyatam,
जो आप
that is your obligatory karma which you have acquired by your nature,
इसलिए वो
that should be done by you.
बोलते हैं सदोषम अपि न्यत्यजेत कि आपका जो सहज कर्म
That's why Bhagavan says that your sahaj karma, the karma according to your acquired nature, you should do it even if you see fault in doing that. Still you should continue doing that.
और कर्म ज्यायो ही अकर्मण. अकर्म से कर्म श्रेष्ठ है.
Karma is superior to akarma.
तो सीधा लगता है कि कर्म ना करना.
So akarma in generally is understood as not performing karma, but Sri Ramanujacharya says here akarma means jnana yoga.
व्याख्या की है अकर्म.
That is his explanation of akarma.
क्योंकि अर्जुन का प्रश्न था जायसी चेत कर्मणस्ते मता.
He says that Arjuna's question was,
पहले श्लोक में उन्होंने जाय शब्द का प्रयोग किया था कि आप अगर ज्ञान योग को
what he had explained, that if Arjuna had asked that if you consider Gyan Yoga to be superior to Karma Yoga, why are you engaging me in this ghastly war? So Ramanujacharya says that here also Bhagavan is using the same word. So here he is answering that question, saying that you should perform karma. Because Arjuna had asked a definite answer, a definite reply, that what is supremely beneficent for me. So here Bhagavan is giving an order. Here he is not just giving a suggestion, he is giving order. Kuru is an order. You perform your niyata karma. Why? Because karma is superior to akarma.
कारण बताते हैं.
And for that, he also gives reason along with example. You can do a 5-step syllogism in the process of nyaya on this verse.
अकर्मक हो जाएंगे, कर्म नहीं करेंगे.
So if you do not become akarmaka, if you do not perform action, your bodily sustenance will also not be possible. At least you have to do work that much in order to maintain your body. You have to eat, you have to sleep, you have to wear clothes, and the other actions of the body, the taking bath, excretion, etc. Even a jnani has to do that. So for doing that also he has to do it in the prescribed, according to prescription only, because the jnani he also earlier must have performed karma yoga according to shastra. So that much karma so he has to perform, he has to get bhiksha. Even if he is not performing any karma, he has to beg.
ऐसी स्थिति पे पहुंचना कि आपको जो मिल जाए वो ही खा लिया आपने और उसी से आप संतुष्ट.
And if you reach such a state where if you whatever you get you are satisfied with that, this is not an ordinary state. So actually what is sannyas, what is according to parampara, a very rare person can actually follow sannyas like that, what has been followed from parampara. So now the sannyas what we see, so now the sannyas what you see, they are just do activities, like they may be welfare activities for society, doing tapasya, but those sannyasis who give up karma completely, it is very rare to find them. Earlier they were existing. So here Bhagavan is telling even for bodily maintenance you have to do something. Even if somebody feeds food in your mouth, you have to chew that. Nobody else can chew the food for you. So when you anyway have to do activity, then why not do it in the right way? And we have the energy to perform action, so why not utilize that energy?
आपकी अपनी कोई इच्छा नहीं है, वासना नहीं है.
You may not have any selfish desire, then at least act for the welfare of society. Later in Gita, Bhagavan will speak in the 12th chapter that this Gyan Marg is very difficult.
बहुत मुश्किल से प्राप्त होता है. अव्यक्ता ही गतिर दुखम। तो वो कहते हैं वो भी परोपकार करके इसको प्राप्त कर लेते हैं, लेकिन कष्ट से करते हैं।
So there also Bhagavan explains that by doing karma people obtain this Gyan Marg, but it is very difficult. So that's not required. So here he is giving example that just like for your bodily sustenance you have to do something, similarly you have the energy to perform action other than your sadhana, whatever time you have, why not engage in the right action? It will be beneficial for you also and for others also. That is why here in the 3rd, 4th and 5th chapter, Bhagavan is again and again laying emphasis on Karma Yoga. In 18th chapter also he will speak about this. Otherwise what happens is, if you do not act, then you will get into Tamoguna. Either you have very high level of Sattva, otherwise you will get into Tamas. You will be influenced by Tamas heavily. That's why in Sanskrit it is said, doing something is better than not doing anything. Empty.
तो आज ये भी समाज में हो रहा है, क्योंकि
So nowadays this is also happening in society because of technology. Science has progressed so much. There are so many machines that have been invented for working. So human being has lot of time. He has lot of idle time. So what will you do with that idle time? If he is a spiritualist, then he may engage in some worship, meditation. He'll do something. So this idle person, he just runs here and there and spreads pollution everywhere. Human being, wherever he goes, he pollutes the environment. Unless he is a spiritualist, he keeps polluting the environment. So all these scientific inventions, they have also become the cause of pollution, because human being has more time now, doesn't have to work much like earlier, and the idle time he has, he utilizes it in all kinds of activities which pollute the society, the environment, because he has that energy to perform action, he has to engage it somewhere. So it is all right that you are doing everything by machines, but how will you control your energy to perform action? So if you do not engage it in karma yoga, then it will get engaged in ghastly action, and then society will have to suffer for that. That is why here Bhagavan is giving that advice that you should keep performing action with detachment. So this word niyata, it is used for nitya karma, but in today's society its meaning will be to perform action according to acquired nature, because the fundamental rules are applicable on everybody: not stealing, speaking the truth, not doing violence. These fundamental principles are applicable on everybody. In the last 5 chapters of 7th canto in Srimad Bhagavatam, there Naradji has also explained like this, that some activities are such which are applicable on everybody, irrespective of their varna or ashram. So that is prescribed action. That is Vehita karma. So everybody should do that, and everyone should have knowledge about that. That is Niyata karma. This is what Bhagavan is teaching here. Earlier also he had explained that your eligibility, your adhikar is in performing karma, and you should not be attached to inaction.
तो इसी के साथ आज का प्रवचन समाप्त
So we will stop here, and if you have any question you can ask.
माइक दे दो पीछे। पूछिए, आप पूछिए।
You explained that karma yoga is of two types, that of Purva Mimamsa and according to the understanding of Bhagavad Dharma, and also Jnana Yoga is according to Advaita Vedanta.
Yeah, ask your question.
And so what is the difference between karma yoga in the understanding of Bhagavad Dharma and
I already
Jnana?
explained that the other karma yoga is only talking about the यज्ञ और द एक्टिविटीज। उसका हिंदी में अनुवाद करना पड़ेगा पहले। तो दो प्रकार के कर्मयोग बताए थे। एक
So at two types of karma yoga were explained, one of Purumimamsa and the other of Gita Bhagavatam. So what is the difference? The difference is that in the karma yoga of Purumimamsa, only alaukika karma is explained, like doing sandhyavadan, naimittik karma, nitya karma. But there, worldly activities, working in office, etc., how do you make that as karma yoga? They don't discuss about this. But in Bhagavad Gita, these worldly activities are also encouraged to be performed with the attitude of offering.
The karma yoga according to the Bhagavad Gita and the Jnana yoga according to the Bhagavad Gita. What is the difference between those two?
कर्म ज्ञान योग में आपको
In Jnana Yoga,
वर्णाश्रम जो विहित कर्म है, जैसे
the Varnashram Vihita Karma,
गृहस्थ आश्रम है, उसको छोड़
if you are in Grihastha, you have to give it up and take sannyas in Jnana Yoga.
ज्ञान योग के जो नियम है उनका पालन करना पड़ेगा। ऐसा
The rules of Jnana Yoga have to be followed.
परिवार में भी रहते हैं, नौकरी
It is not that you are in family, society, and you perform Jnana Yoga. Jnana Yoga means you have to give up family, Grihasthashram, everything.
सेवा में लगा।
But according to your energy, you perform action.
आप पूछिए।
मन का नियंत्रण करना एक प्रकार का
Question:
कर्म होता है।
controlling the mind is also a karma?
कर्म ही है।
Answer: yes, it is also a karma.
और हमारे अंदर जो
Second,
वासनाएं हैं
the vasanas, the desires that we have,
प्रयोग करके
if we
नियंत्रित
control them
कर सकते हैं।
by using our intelligence,
मतलब फिर इसमें भक्ति की आवश्यकता, ये भक्ति के बिना हो सकता है क्या?
is it possible without bhakti also? Answer: karma yoga is a different path. Understand this properly. Karma yoga, jnana yoga and bhakti yoga, these three are different paths.
इसलिए आप प्रश्न जो है वो कर्म योग की दृष्टि से करते हैं या भक्ति योग की दृष्टि से करते हैं? तीनों ही मार्गों
So
में
you are asking from the point of view of karma yoga or bhakti yoga. In all the three paths, senses have to be restrained. They have to be regulated.
कि आप कर्म ही नहीं करते हैं।
In jnana yoga, it is even much more because you are anyway not doing karma there.
में भी इंद्रिय नियमन तो
And in bhakti yoga also sense control is very much required.
तरीका है, भक्ति योग
But the process is of controlling senses is different in karma yoga compared to bhakti yoga.
स्टार्टिंग पॉइंट तो सभी का होता है that they are with वासना। कोई बिना वासना के
So
तो स्टार्ट
question:
करेगा नहीं।
in the beginning everybody has vasana,
अलग अलग प्रकार के टेंडेंसी है वो।
and people who have different tendencies.
कोई वेद पढ़ रहा है तो उसका अगर राजसिक
So like it is said, if somebody is studying Veda and he is predominantly has rajas, so he will see like that only.
ज्ञान गीता का ज्ञान ले रहे हैं तो वो
So if we are hearing Bhagavad Gita, then we are understanding it based on our past tendency.
कर सकते
तो
हैं।
आप कर्म योग का
So how do we use buddhi properly?
ये प्रश्न है पहले।
So the counter question is, first you have to tell that which path you want to follow, karma, jnana or bhakti.
मत कीजिए।
So do not mix these three.
योग पे जाना चाहते
If you want to engage in bhakti yoga, then
गुरु ग्रहण करना
first of all, the rule in bhakti yoga is you have to take shelter of guru,
और उनके
the first step in bhakti yoga, and then you have to act according to the instruction of the guru. In karma yoga,
जो नित्य कर्म करना तो उसके लिए भी ब्राह्मण होते हैं जिनसे आपको
in karma yoga also there are brahmanas
लेनी पड़ती है।
from whom you have to take diksha for that particular yagya or
लेकिन जो
the vidhis,
गीता के अनुसार
the rules are there.
अर्पण बुद्धि से
But
करना पड़ेगा,
the karma yoga of Bhagavad Gita, if you want to do that, you have to act by as an attitude of offering to Bhagavan,
तो जैसे
not that I am doing it because of my vasana.
भगवते त्वघम पापा ये पचन्ति आत्म कारणात्, कि आप खाना इसलिए बना रहे हैं कि आपको खाना है,
So if you are cooking just because you want to eat, then you are eating sin only.
पहले आपको भगवत अर्पण करके तब खाना,
That is why first it should be offered to Bhagavan.
इसमें पाप नहीं होगा,
Then you will not be implicated in sin.
तो उस दृष्टि
So the activities that you perform, they have to be performed
यदा
from the point of
यद्ददास
then karma yoga.
तपस्या से
That's what Bhagavan says,
मदर्पणम,
that
मेरे अर्पण करो,
whatever you do, offer it to me.
Question.
और उसमें जो आपकी वासनाएं हैं उसको भी ये देखना पड़ेगा कि ऐसे
And in
नहीं
that
कि
also the vasanas, the desires you have,
करना है, आपको
it
देखना
is not that you have to act on everything. You have to analyze what is the influence of that vasana on me.
सिगरेट पीने की,
Like if somebody has a vasana of
सकते हैं जी उसको
smoking cigarette,
भगवान को अर्पण कर दूंगा,
so then if you say that I offer that also to Bhagavan, okay, you can do that, but then you should also use your intelligence that what is the use of smoking that cigarette? What benefit do I derive by doing that?
इसके लिए भी जानना पड़ेगा ना,
So you have to understand Shastra,
लाभदायक नहीं है, जो शास्त्र ने नियम
how
बनाए हैं,
what is beneficial for me, what is not beneficial for me. The rules
भगवान का मना नहीं है,
that have been given in Shastra, what should be eaten, what should not be eaten.
युक्त आहार विहार से युक्त चेष्टा से
Shastra is not telling that you do not eat.
योगो भक्ति दुख,
Like Bhagavan will say
और आहार का फिर तीन प्रकार का वर्णन,
that you should live a balanced life,
तो उनका तो आपको
eat
पालन
in a
करना
balanced way,
कर्मयोग में,
moderately.
तो उनको समझना होगा,
You have to understand everything.
कोई बुद्धि के थ्रू अगर अपने सेंसेस वासना को इक्वानिमिटी
Next question, through intelligence, if somebody observes his vasanas and remains,
वासना उसके ऊपर हावी होने का प्रयास कर रहा है, वो उसको पार हो
when the vasana is trying to dominate that person, and if he can
कर्मयोग से चला जाएगा,
become successful in overcoming that,
जाएगा नहीं,
then will the seed of desire go away by karma yoga? Answer, seed of desire will not go away by karma yoga,
उनकी स्वातंत्र,
because in karma yoga the sadhaka he maintains his independence. In Gita this is not explained in detail, but in Bhagavatam all the different leelas which are presented, they are presented to explain
सुचारू समाधान
that
केवल भक्ति योग में,
ultimately the solution for all these problems is bhakti yoga only. What is the reason? In karma yoga you maintain your independence, independent mentality. You do not take shelter of anybody, you do not surrender yourself to anybody, so you maintain your independence. So as long as you maintain the independence, some problems will keep coming and then you keep controlling, regulating.
तो
But in bhakti yoga, because you take shelter,
ज्ञान है, आइडेंटिटी जो बोलते
your identity that itself changes,
हैं, और आपका संबंध भगवान के साथ हो जाता है,
and then your relation gets established with Bhagavan.
उनके जो उनसे मेल नहीं खाती है वो रहती नहीं है,
Then those vasanas which are not beneficial in seva of Bhagavan, they will not even remain in you. Now if they are still in you, that means you have not taken complete shelter.
इसलिए भागवत में बार बार भक्ति की बात आती है,
So that's why complete solution is only in bhakti. That's why in Bhagavatam again and again there is talk of bhakti.
पूछा
When Parikshit asked Shukdev Goswami
संसार में व्यक्तियों के लिए
that in this world
मुमूर्षु हैं जो मर रहे हैं तो उनके लिए क्या
though
कर्तव्य,
for everybody, especially for a person who is dying, is on the verge of death, what is his duty? So the answer was he should perform bhakti. So Shukdev Goswami gave the solution as bhakti yoga.
Radharani Baba, I have a question. If we perform Shravanam, Kirtanam, and so on, so this is Bhakti Yoga, but the most part of our day is work. So, and during the work, I feel this is not connected to Krishna, and it's a bad feeling. So, I'm wondering if it's like a karma yoga, or I can take it also as a bhakti yoga. and how to get peace here.
तो अनुवाद कर दिया प्रश्न का। तो ऐसा है कि ये जैसे मैंने उनको भी कहा कि ये कर्मयोग, भक्ति योग, ज्ञान योग, ये अलग अलग मार्ग
So,
हैं।
answer, as I explained, karma, jnana, and bhakti are three different paths, and you have to understand all the three separately.
जब उनको हम ठीक से नहीं समझते हैं तो
When we do not understand them properly,
संशय मन में पैदा होता है।
then we get this kind of doubt.
तो भक्ति का जो मार्ग है,
The path of bhakti, it begins with Sharanagati, taking shelter,
स्वामी जी कहते हैं
surrendering to Guru. Like Sri Rup Goswami explains in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, that the first step in bhakti is Guru Padashraya Tasmat.
तो जब आप का पादाश्रय हो गया, आपने गुरु
So
को
when you
समर्पित
have
कर दिया,
taken shelter of Guru, you have surrendered to Guru,
होता है कि आप जो
then what happens is that whatever you do is bhakti only. If you have actually taken shelter,
आप किसी कंपनी
like
में
if you are
में काम करते
working in a company, in an
हैं,
office,
वहाँ आप 8 घंटे जाते हैं, तो
there you work for 8 hours. In those 8 hours, whatever you are doing, it is all actually for the company only.
तो भक्ति में क्या होता है कि जब मैंने
So what happens is bhakti, when I have offered myself only to Bhagavan,
भगवान से स्वतंत्र नहीं है,
as I was explaining earlier, that my existence is not independent of Bhagavan. I belong to him. So what I am doing is for him only. Like if I purchase a horse, that horse belongs to me. So that horse will work for me only. The horse is dependent on me. I will feed him, then he will eat. Otherwise he can't eat. He will not run away, leaving me. So when we
नौकरी करें, दिन में कभी जाएं तो भगवान के लिए कर
offer ourselves to Bhagavan, we take shelter of Bhagavan, then whatever we are doing is for Bhagavan. But if you are thinking that what I am doing is for myself, that means there is some defect in my surrender.
यात्रा के लिए तो काम करना,
Like here Bhagavan was explaining that for bodily sustenance you have to work.
शरीर यात्रा चलती है,
So you are working in the office, you get money, and by that you can maintain your body, your family. But that body now belongs to Bhagavan because you have taken shelter of Bhagavan.
ये तो भक्ति नहीं है।
So now don't think that only Shravan Kirtan is bhakti, this working is not bhakti. That's why in Bhakti Rasamrita Sindhu, Sri Rupa Goswami, for bhakti he has used the word Anushilan.
तो भक्ति में केवल श्रवण कीर्तन,
In bhakti, only these 9 processes, Shravan Kirtan, it is not that only they are bhakti. This is for explaining so that we can understand properly.
सोते हैं वो भी भक्ति,
Every action is included in bhakti. If you are sleeping, that is also bhakti. Because if you do not sleep, how will you do japa?
इसलिए यहाँ
If you do not eat, you cannot do anything. That's why we say prasad seva.
सुना होगा ना, प्रसाद सेवा करो। हम ये नहीं कहते कि प्रसाद खाओ,
We do not say eat prasad. We say honor prasad. Do seva of prasad.
यानी कि हम जो प्रसाद ग्रहण करते हैं वो भी सेवा
So when we are taking prasad, that is also seva. That is also bhakti.
हैं, तो वो भी भक्ति है।
When we are sleeping, that is also bhakti. When we are walking, that is also bhakti.
जब मैंने अपने
But it is bhakti if I have completely surrendered myself to Bhagavan. So this is the difference in Karma Yoga and Bhakti Yoga. In Karma Yoga, first the person performs action, then he offers to Bhagavan. And in Bhakti Yoga, he is already offered. He has already offered himself, surrendered himself, then he acts. So once you have surrendered yourself completely, then whatever you are acting, whatever action you are doing, it is for that person to whom you have surrendered. But if you have not surrendered yourself to that person, then you have to surrender every action separately.
समस्या का हल नहीं होता है।
That is why in Karma Yoga there is no complete solution. So this is a point of psychology.
इसको समझना होगा कि भक्ति क्यों,
You have to understand this, that why bhakti is so powerful. Why is it said that in bhakti, when you take diksha, all your karma is finished? It is said for this reason only, because as long as you have this sense of independent doership, which is there in Karma Yoga, it has to be there in Karma Yoga, then you will get the result. And because you don't want the result, you offer it to Bhagavan. But in Bhakti, because we have offered the doer in himself, we who are the doer, we only have ourselves offered ourselves only to Bhagavan, then the result will belong to Bhagavan only. Like in company, if you meet an accident or something wrong happens, then company has to take care of the employee.
बाबा जी क्या कहते हैं, आज आपने स्वभाव के बारे में बात कर रहे थे।
The question you were talking of Swabhava.
तो इसको पीछे भी समझ नहीं पाया था, मैं दूसरे प्रश्न के उसमें रह गया, तो उसको थोड़ा स्पष्ट करना कर सकते हैं क्या?
Can you explain the Swabhav and Sthai Bhav? So answer, Swabhav is explained in relation to Karma Yoga. Like you have the body, Sthai Bhav is used for bhakti, that is obtained.
जिसको स्थायी भाव प्राप्त होगा उसका भी फिर कुछ स्वभाव होगा नहीं होगा?
The one who gets Sthai Bhav, he will also have a Swabhav or no?
स्थायी भाव दास्य है,
If somebody is a Kshatriya, but his Sthai Bhav is Dasya, possible. Somebody may be Brahman, but his Swabhav may Sthai Bhav may be Dasya.
बाबा जी मेरा प्रश्न अटैचमेंट के ऊपर है।
हाँ जी।
क्या
Next question, my question is about attachment.
जा सकता है कि भगवान से
Can we say that Bhakti Yoga is to be attached to Bhagavan, his Leela, his Dham, or there should not be any attachment? Answer,
एक प्रकार से
Bhakti Yoga
एक मार्जित रूप है ज्ञान और कर्म दोनों का ही।
Bhakti Yoga is kind of, you can say, a very purified form of karma or jnana yoga. So it has got karma and jnana also. Like if somebody is doing karma, then he will have some attachment somewhere, but that attachment
उसको नियम के अनुसार काम करेगा।
will not be just for him. He will act according to rule. In bhakti, the center of attachment is Guru Bhagavan.
तो यहाँ जितनी भी
So here,
दुर्गुण बताए जाते हैं,
whatever bad qualities are told earlier,
संबंधित होंगे।
now they will be all related with Bhagavan.
तो यहाँ फल
There you give up the desire for fruit, but here the fruit is for Bhagavan. Their attachment is despised, but here attachment is for Bhagavan.
क्योंकि वहाँ उनको आप दमन करते रहिए, वास्तव में
So there you just keep suppressing the senses.
जटिल काम है।
Following those rules is very difficult.
YouTube से प्रश्न है, आत्मा किस प्रकार इंद्रिय विषयों को भोगती है?
Next question, how does Atma enjoy the senses?
वास्तव में तो भोग जो भी है,
Answer, actually all the bhog does not happen in Atma.
भोग इत्यादि जो भी होता है,
All the bhog etc. what happens, it happens in the kshetra. In 13th chapter Bhagavan has explained.
संघात चेतना धृति इति क्षेत्रम समासेन सविकारम उदाहरित है। तो कहते हैं वहाँ इच्छा द्वेष सुख,
So there Bhagavan explains that ichha dvesh attachment aversion,
तो वहाँ भगवान
happiness misery,
ही है ये,
this is all kshetra.
जो विकार क्षेत्र में होते हैं, लेकिन वो आत्मा के बगैर नहीं हो सकते हैं।
They cannot happen without the Atma.
कहा जाता है कि आत्मा
So that's why when it is said that the Atma is enjoying, in 15th chapter Bhagavan is explaining
मनस्य अधिष्ठाय भुंक्ते सेवते, कि इनको अधिष्ठान करके भोगती है। तो वो कहने का मतलब ये है कि इनको शक्ति देती है अपनी
what he is saying, that Atma gives the power.
तो आत्मा में कोई भोग वास्तव में होता नहीं है, लेकिन जब इसका
Atma doesn't have any bhog in it, but when it is said in the indicative way. It means Atma is giving the consciousness, the power to mind, intelligence, and bhog happens there actually. All the bhog etc. happens in mind only. That's why if anesthesia is given, then you cannot do any bhoga.
संचार शरीर में अभी भी चल रहा है, आत्मा भी बैठी हुई
The
है,
prana is there.
लेकिन कुछ पता नहीं चलता है। सुषुप्ति में चले जाएं आप,
If you get into sushupti, dreamless state,
तो वहाँ भी कोई पता नहीं चलता आपको।
there also you do not understand anything.
जी का प्रश्न है,
Next question,
पिछली कक्षा में भगवत गीता
from the last class, Bhagavad Gita 3.6, how can we understand the idea that humans don't have limited free will if they are able to make choice? Without free will, would it not be unreasonable to hold them accountable for the consequences of their actions?
स्वतंत्र इच्छा
Answer,
शब्द आजकल प्रचलित हो गया।
this free will phrase is very popular nowadays because of Christianity.
शास्त्रों में कहीं नहीं देखेंगे ये।
In our shastras, you will not find the phrase free will anywhere.
मैंने तो कहानी के
I never said there is free will. I said there is will, and that is influenced by your vasanas, your desires. But these desires, what do you mean by free, independent? That means not to be influenced by anything. So here, even if you say them independent or free, it means they are not influenced by others, but by your own samskaras. Means that much only. Next question. A sadhak who is trying to regulate the senses but still afflicted and engaged in enjoyment of senses, sense objects due to overwhelming force of sense attraction while acknowledging the right and wrong also be considered hypocrite. To give an example, a smoker knows that smoking is dangerous to his health but still he smokes. Answer. Hypocrisy means not doing sense enjoyment externally but harboring the desire for sense enjoyment internally, or doing that and showing to others that I don't do that. Privately engaging in sense enjoyment but publicly showing that I do not do that. So people show in public that they do not smoke, but privately they may engage in smoking, or they have deep desire to smoke internally, but due to force of society they do not smoke. So that is also hypocrisy.
धीर ललित जी कृपया अपना प्रश्न पूछें.
Radhe Radhe Babaji, thanks for a wonderful class. Babaji, my observation is anecdotal only to my personal experience, but there's overwhelming evidence that karma and bhakti is superior to gyan. Yet, yet amongst like so-called educated people, and especially in the academic arena, gyan marg is given so much importance and it's accepted. Why is this?
तो मैंने पिछले कक्षा में इसका उत्तर दिया
So
था.
answer, in the previous class I had answered this. If you remember, I had explained that
हम विशेष तौर से आध्यात्मिक मार्ग में
in the spiritual field especially, whatever appears different from ordinary course of society, we find interest in that. We start feeling that this is spirituality. Means to perform such activities which ordinary human being does not perform. It is different from what ordinary human being does. Then people say this is a spiritualist. If somebody is just sustaining on milk, somebody is sustaining on only fruits, or perform such actions, and then people say some different actions, then people say this is a spiritualist. So what happens? Sannyas, Gyan Marga is based on renunciation, sannyas. And in Grihastha ashram there is attachment. So then people think that this sannyas itself is actually spirituality. So as I said, in bhakti there is element of Gyan Karma also. So then people think, what is this bhakti? What we are doing, he is also doing. He may just wake up in the morning and just ring some bell. So that is why people cannot recognize the superiority, the speciality of bhakti, because actually bhakti yoga is an internal state. It's a bhav, it's a state of mentality. The action that you perform externally is not so important compared to the internal bhava. That's why I said it is not that only Shravan Kirtan is bhakti. You are doing work in office, that is also bhakti. But the point is, the important thing is, what is your internal state? Is it that of complete surrender? If yes, then everything you do is bhakti. That is why the great devotees in Shastra, if you see them, they do not look like bhaktas. Then if you would actually meet a gopi, you would not recognize her to be a bhakta or a spiritualist. She is just milking the cow and cooking food. Gopis are not doing even like that Shravan Kirtan, going to hear daily Bhagavatam classes like you. They are not doing that much also. Whole day and night they are working in their family. So how do you say then that is bhakti? So in order to explain that only, Vyasadeva had to write Bhagavatam. The whole Bhagavatam is written to explain this only, that how gopis are the topmost devotees, because it is an internal state. It's a bhav. And that is why Uddhavji was sent to Vrindavan. Because if any other person would have come to Vrindavan, he would have just spoken normally with the gopis and would have gone away. But Uddhavji was a very wise, very intelligent person, so he could catch this point, how gopis are topmost devotee. Like Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when he went to Jagannath temple and then on taking darshan, he became unconscious. So the pandas there, they were going to take him away from there, but Sarvam Bhattacharya recognized his symptom because he is very intelligent, wise, educated person. He understood that this is not a normal, any ordinary human being. So understanding bhakti is not easy. That is why nowadays the scholars, the academicians, they also think that Gyan Marg is the topmost. Another point is, the another reason is that in Gyan Marg, your ahankara becomes very strong. You start thinking that I am Brahma. And in Bhakti Marga, your ahankar becomes deflated totally. You are just a Dasa. And the Advaita Marg says that you are Brahma. So that is another reason why Gyan Marga appears to be correct, better. Next question, can we do bhakti without Guru? If we do not have time to take shelter of Guru, can we depend on books? There are two types of bhakti. One is ordinary Samanya bhakti and there is specific Vishesh bhakti. Samanya bhakti can be done anywhere without Guru also. But for Vishesh bhakti, taking shelter of Guru is extremely important. Next question. The Rochanartha Phalashruti, can it be engaged, this point be brought in bhakti or it is only for Karma Yoga? Because Bhagavan is telling to be detached from the fruit. So counter question, can you explain what is the meaning of Rochanartha Phalashruti?
बोलिए।
हाँ बाबा जी महाराज अभी थोड़ा अनम्यूट हुआ था इसीलिए। जैसे कि यहाँ पे हम ये शिक्षा लेते हैं कि फल से अनासक्त होना है।
So just like here we understand that we have to be detached from the fruit or we have to offer the fruit to Bhagavan. But in Shastras, fruits are also described to attract. So is it only for Karma Yoga or it is only for Bhakti?
जैसे किसी की भक्ति की तरफ आसक्ति है, मतलब उसमें
तो सीधा बोलो यार, आपको हिंदी नहीं आती है कि क्या इसका उपयोग भक्ति में भी होता है? ऐसा बोलो ना, लाया जा सकता है, क्या मतलब?
हाँ, उपयोग
तो क्यों नहीं कर सकते हो?
So can this be engaged in bhakti also? Is it not? Yeah, people say chant Hare Krishna and be happy. That is Rochanartha Phalashruti only. Everywhere it is done. Do bhakti, Bhagavan will take you to Vaikuntha, all your problems will be solved, everything. Bhagavan says in Gita, I will take you away from this miserable world.
ठीक है, समझ गए।
ठीक है, प्रार्थना श्लोक। सर्वोपनिषदो गावो दोग्धा गोपाल नंदनः पार्थो वत्सः सुधीर्भोक्ता दुग्धं गीतामृतं महत्। एकं शास्त्रं देवकी पुत्र गीतम् एको देवो देवकी पुत्र एव एको मंत्रस्तस्य नामानि यानि कर्माप्येकं तस्य देवस्य सेवा कार्पण्यदोषोपहतः स्वभावः पृच्छामि त्वां धर्मसम्मूढचेताः यच्छ्रेयः स्यान्निश्चितं ब्रूहि तन्मे शिष्यस्तेऽहं शाधिमां त्वां प्रपन्नम् यत्र योगेश्वरः कृष्णो यत्र पार्थो धनुर्धरः तत्र श्रीर्विजयो भूतिर् ध्रुवा नीतिर्मतिर्मम कृष्णाय वासुदेवाय देवकी नंदनाय च नंदगोपकुमाराय गोविंदाय नमो नमः। नमः पंकजनाभाय नमः पंकजमालिने नमः पंकजनेत्राय नमस्ते पंकजांघ्रये। भवे भवे यथा भक्तिः पादयोस्तव जायते तथा कुरुष्व देवेश नाथस्त्वं नो यतः प्रभो। नाम संकीर्तनं यस्य सर्वपाप प्रणाशनं प्रणामो दुःखशमनस्तं नमामि हरिं परम्। हरि ओम तत्सत्।